Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Fix My Finances series, where we review real life money situation, spot the money leaks, and proffer solutions on how to fix them. And today's case is actually very interesting. Today we'll be reviewing the finances of a couple who live in Birmingham, and the husband was the one who submitted the form, and in his words he said, "My wife does not respect me because she earns more. I feel like I'm not being heard when it comes to financial decisions." Okay, so we're gonna get right into it and figure out why the husband feels that way. But before we do, don't forget that this is a judgment-free zone. We're here to learn, reflect, and grow. So as much as possible, please leave your comments, your suggestions for this couple in the comments below, because they will definitely be reading it. But let's not be judgmental. Let's try our best not to be judgmental. Just advise them as you would your sister, your brother, your family member, as the case may be. And if this is your first time seeing me, hi, I'm Chidera. On this channel I share tips to help people save smarter, build wealth, and have a happy life. If that sounds like your vibe, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Without further hesitation, let's jump right into the details. As always, I have my notes and my laptop here so I can read what they submitted. So the wife is a 34-year-old software engineer and the husband is an IT support staff. She earns an annual salary of about 95,000. She said her monthly take home after tax about 5,000 something, but she just approximated as 5,000 pounds. The husband is an IT support staff. His take home is about 2,001. So their combined income is 7,100 pounds monthly. Okay, now what is the issue? What is the conflict? The issue here is that the wife is expecting a bonus. She's expecting a 15,000 pounds bonus after tax in October, and they are having issues agreeing on how to spend that money. So the wife wants to put that money towards a house deposit. She says she wants them to secure stability, build equity, and have a sense of ownership. So she wants to put that 15k she's expecting towards buying a house. But then the husband says they have a truckload of debt and that he would rather they use that money to clear the debt, and also there's a need for a car. He said he works very far from home and the commute to his place of work is quite long, but that if he was driving it would be a short commute. They have a need for a car, and also they have one child who is 5 years old. Car will be helpful for school runs. So essentially there's a 15k bonus. The wife wants to use it to start putting towards a house deposit. The husband would rather they use that money to clear their debt and also buy a car, a second-hand car. He said he's not pressed for a new car, just want a functional car that can take him from point A to B. Now what is the issue? You think it's quite simple. The issue here is that they have a lot of debt, which I'm going to get into, and also they provide explainers as to how they got into this debt. Okay, so let's look at their savings and investments. So currently, their emergency fund, they have about 7,400 pounds, which honestly is not bad, but I think it needs to be more than this. Remember, your emergency fund, as a rule of thumb, needs to be 3 to 6 months of your living expenses. We're going to see their living expenses in a bit. There's also stocks and shares ISA here. The wife has a stocks and shares ISA where she has about 3,200 pounds, so she started investing. That's good. Then they have a junior ISA. Junior ISA is a savings account for a child. They have about 2,500 pounds there. So this is not bad. Now let's look at what the issue is. Their debts. Credit card, they have 11,500 pounds on credit cards across 2 credit cards. They say they used it for holidays, home furnishings, and Christmas, and it's the wife that has this credit card. She's the one who incurred this credit card debt, although the husband is an additional card holder, but she's the one who made these purchases. Now you might wonder, because I also asked them that, oh, if she has a good salary of about 5,000 pounds, how come they got into this kind of credit card debt? Apparently she just got this new job about a year and some months ago. So previously she was earning less than this, and this was when they incurred a lot of debt on credit cards. And the husband said this is part of the reasons why he said he feels like she doesn't listen to him, because when she kept spending on credit cards, she usually made those purchases without telling him. He would just come home and see that, oh, she's bought this, she's bought that, and she was buying it on credit cards. Even when he would voice out his opinion, she wouldn't listen to him. And then now that she's earning more, it's even worse. She just makes decisions without including him in that. Now the second debt they have is buy now pay later. They have about 1,200 pounds debt there. Clothes, iPad for their son, and some small appliances. And then they have an overdraft. They went into an overdraft in one of their bank accounts, which is about 400 pounds. So the total debt that they owe is 13,100 pounds. So they don't have mortgage. They don't have mortgage debt. So let me know so far, what do you think, just hearing the whole scenario and how their finances are set up. Now let's look at their monthly expenses. So monthly expenses, they rent a 2-bed flat in Birmingham for 1,450. Council tax 200 pounds. Gas and electricity 220. Water is about 40 pounds. Internet 50, mobile phones 100, transport for the husband, he spent about 180, taxi, Uber, they say school runs, late work 250, groceries 650, eating out and takeaways 400, kids club activities 200, subscriptions 129, house maintenance, they have cleaners that come to the house twice a month, 400 pounds, wife self-care, there's self-care for the wife, nails, hair, facials 350. Gym subscription for both of them, 78 pounds. Remittances to Nigeria, both to the husband and the wife's family, is 500 pounds. Shopping, clothing for the whole family, they spend about 350. Then the wife invests, currently she's trying to invest 600 pounds a month, so there's investing money. Then they have some payments they make towards the debt already that they have. So credit cards, they pay 600 pounds to the 2 credit cards that they owe. Then buy now pay later, they are paying 200 pounds towards it. Then overdraft fees, they incurred an overdraft fee of 20 pounds. So essentially their total expenses, from what I'm seeing here, is 6,967 pounds, which is very, very high given that their monthly income is 7,100. So they currently have about 133 pounds that is floating. That's a lot of expenses. Their expenses, their lifestyle is high. Their income just increased about a year ago. I can see lifestyle creep already. I want to believe that when the wife was not earning 5,000 pounds, they were not spending all of this, or maybe they were, which is why the credit card debt is there, right? There was still that tendency to overspend. So let me know, looking at this expenses already, what can you spot? Now the issue here that they highlighted to me is not like, oh, they have a spending problem, they want, you know, to figure out how to save more. No, the husband just says he doesn't feel heard, okay? He doesn't feel respected because it doesn't earn much. But regardless, I can already see some things in these expenses that I'm like, you need to cut down on some things, because even though you guys don't have a saving problem, you need to figure out ways to save money, because when you're able to release money in your expenses, you can have money to do the other things that are actually causing issues right now. The car, the house. If you have enough savings, or if you have savings left every month, you can start putting towards these things. So I'll talk about the fixes shortly. Now, what are the issues and the red flags that I can see just looking at everything? The first is disjointed finances. The fact that money decisions are not made together. The wife just, according to what he says, she just makes her expenses. He says that she largely decides and he feels unheard, right? So that's one issue. The second thing, like I already said, expensive lifestyle. They barely have any savings every month. It's almost like money in, money out. The third thing is debt dependency. Having 11,500 pounds on credit cards, their lifestyle has been fueled by debt and a bit of overspending, okay? The another issue that they're having is the car and debt reality versus buying a house, okay? The fact that they can't agree on what they want to do. Neither is willing to compromise in that sense. That's an issue. These are the issues I can see. Now, let's just go straight into the solutions and the action plan. Another thing to state here is that when it comes to money in marriages, it's very nuanced, okay? I know that I'm not in your marriage, so I mean, you filled out this form and decided that I should look at it. So I'm just going to give you what I think if I were you. But of course, take what you can out of this and also read all the comments down below, because there might be people who have been in similar situations like this that could provide solutions on how to approach it. Now, the very first thing I want to say, the very first thing we need to fix is the foundation. There needs to be communication and respect. Especially when you're doing joint finances or when you're doing life with someone. Shade, the wife's name is Shade. Shade, if you're hearing this, please, the first thing is we have to compromise on goals, okay? Right now, both of you are doing either or. The husband is making it seem like he wants them to clear the debt and pay for the car. That's it. And she's like, oh, she wants them to save towards a house deposit. How about you have a compromise on both things? Let it not be either or, let it be and. We can do all of these things we both want and not make you look like you're on either side fighting each other. Do you get my point? You can maybe think about meeting a middle point where you're like, okay, we'll put some money towards the house, we'll also clear some of the debt, and we'll try and see if we can put money towards a car. It doesn't have to be either or. That's the first thing I noticed. Both of you are on either side. It can be a compromise. There can be a middle point, okay? And another thing is maybe you can have a pros and cons list that two of you will work towards together. Okay, why do we want a house now? And if we put this 15k bonus towards a house, when are we buying a house? Is it urgent? Pros and cons of buying a house, and then pros and cons of clearing the debt, and pros and cons of buying a car, a second-hand car, like you said. You guys need to have those conversations so you can both feel heard and each of you can understand why the other person wants this and not that, if that makes sense. Now, the second thing I want to say is monthly money meetings. You guys need to create a habit. Right now, I'll say you should try and make it a schedule where you book it in your calendar, you're having a money meeting. And another thing you guys have to implement, I would say, is any purchase over £500, for example, needs to be discussed. Obviously, you can decide the amount that works for you and your spouse. It can be maybe a purchase over £1,000. You both need to know about it. There has to be a cap where you can't just go and spend money without the other person knowing. For some people, it can't be £200, can be 500, but there has to be an amount that if either of you wants to spend above that amount, the other person has to be in the know. And you need to have these monthly money meetings where you have these conversations. The £15,000 bonus, we're going to try and use it to kill all birds in this sense. So the first thing that I will do is I will clear the overdraft. The overdraft is £400. I'm paying that straight away. Buy now, pay later is 1,200. Clearing that as well straight away. So that's 1,600 already. And then I'm going to put a lump sum towards the credit card debt. The reason is because credit card debt tends to have a high interest rate. So I'm going to try and clear as much much as I can. So what I have written here that I'm going to do is put £4,000 towards the credit card debt, split it across the 2 cards, or put more into the credit card that has the higher interest rate, because you said you have 2 credit cards. Okay, so I do that, and then that will now reduce the amount you owe on the credit card from 11,500 to about 7,500, which is not bad. Another thing is I will then add £600 to the emergency fund so that it brings it up to £8,000. I would then suggest putting money aside for the car, so you can decide to then put £3,000 towards the car, and also even £3,000 should be enough to buy a fairly used car depending on what you want. From what your husband Olufemi said, he said he just needs a car that will take him from point A to B, so I don't think he's all about buying a fancy car. I think there are cars you could get for fairly used cars that even £3,000 can buy that. So maybe just use the £3,000 and buy a car that functions, or if it's not enough, then just put £3,000 in a pot so that you guys can start saving towards it, and then determine the maximum amount you're going to spend on the car. Since the car is just for functionality, you don't need to break the bank to do that. Then the second thing I'll do is then start a house deposit pot with £5,000. So I'll put £5,000 towards buying a house. Another thing I want to say here, Sade, is £15,000. You actually, I don't think you can buy a big house with that money, depending on where you want to live in the UK. £15,000 is 10% of £150,000, and I don't think you can buy, I mean, you guys can all correct me in the comments, there are not a lot of places where you can buy a 2-bedroom flat or a 3-bedroom flat with £150,000. So that means even though you have 15,000 in bonus that is coming, it might not be enough as well for a house deposit, which means you're not buying the house right now. So why is that causing contention? It means you still have to save towards it. So if you put £5,000 into a pot and call it house pot, and then both of you have a plan on how to save to achieve this goal, that would be great. Another thing to consider is maybe put this money in a LISA. If you guys don't have a LISA, lifetime ISA, and you're under 40, you might want to consider opening this account so that you can get £1,000 from the government each year. Both of you can open separate lifetime ISAs, and both of you can get £1,000 each. If you don't know how lifetime ISA works, what it is, all of that, I already have a detailed video up here. Make sure to check it out. It walks you through how lifetime ISA works. So that's essentially how I'm gonna approach that. Then the last thing is basically restructuring the finances after the bonus. So once you use the bonus to clear the buy now pay later, you've reduced the credit card, you've put some towards the emergency fund, there are some things you then need to prioritize because you've reduced your debt. So what you can start doing is then set aside an amount to put toward the house deposit pot and also the car pot. So you guys have a savings amount, maybe 200 and 400 each month, or whatever that looks like. You have a savings plan to each pot. Okay, another thing is to have a plan to clear the £7,500 that will be left on the credit card. In a year, you guys should have cleared out that debt, or at least 15 months. Okay, so you need to create a plan. How much would you be putting towards that to clear it? Then another thing I want to say here is, Olufemi, if you feel like because your wife earns more she doesn't respect you, another thing you might want to consider doing is upskilling. Maybe figure out an IT certification you can get so that you can then apply for the next level for your role, or even consider a career switch. But basically it will require you to do some upskilling. So figure out what that looks like for you so you can increase your income and also increase your confidence. Okay, so lastly, what I want to say here as well, which I said I'm gonna highlight, is your expenses. Your lifestyle expenses are a bit steep. We're looking at it, I'm already seeing a lot of money that can be saved here and there. There's some things that can actually be cut off just because you guys want to prioritize savings. I think you should prioritize having savings so that you can put it into all the things that matter to you. The first thing I can see here, which I highlighted, was eating out and takeaways, is £400, and groceries is already £650. Why are you guys eating out that much? Is it that when Olufemi goes out, you know, he orders food out because he's at work? Maybe you can take food from home. My point is, this amount is quite steep for a family of 3. I don't think your 5-year-old, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think he's eating that much to make you guys have this much on takeaways. This amount can be like £150 monthly. That's about £250 that can be released from that eating out and takeaways. Another thing here, I'm saying house maintenance, cleaners twice a month. So here's the thing, I totally get it. Having cleaners, it makes life very easy. However, this seems a bit expensive. Does it mean each time they come you spend about £200? So here's the thing, I don't think you should cancel the cleaners. I mean, you need what you need for the quality of life you want. How about finding cheaper cleaners? Perhaps you can get cleaners that each time they come is £100, so in a month you're spending 200 for the cleaning they do twice a month. Look into that. Another thing, my dear, I'm saying wife self-care, 350. Is it every month? If it's every month, that's high, but if it's like every other month, maybe not too bad. But if it's every month, I think you can't cut down on that. Shopping, which you said clothing for the whole family, I saw 350. And the question I just wrote by the side is this shopping every month? Are you guys buying clothes every month? If you're buying clothes every month, we need to look into it and probably bring that down, or cancel it and buy every other month, or reduce the amount. Basically, there's about 500 and something pounds, or even 600 honestly, that you guys can save just from these things that I have highlighted. If you cut down some of these expenses, you will definitely release some money that you can then use to put in all these things that matter to you. Okay, so I hope this has been helpful. Once again, please, if you're watching, leave a comment, suggestion. Is there something you think I skipped that you noticed? Please leave it down in the comment. Please sharing this here so we can all learn, reflect, and grow. So make sure to leave your comment down below. So essentially, the fight between Olufemi and Sade is basically about how they make decisions, and the fact that their money systems mentally is not joined. They need to have like a joint money system where both of them feel like their voices are being heard. Okay, so both goals can happen, but it starts with communication and unity. All right, so let me know, what do you think? Should they focus on buying a house? Do you think they should focus on buying a house? Do you think what Sade wants to do is like a better approach, or do you think they should clear the debt? Do you even think what I said you don't agree with it? Like, should they just use the money and clear the debt first? Another thing I even forgot to mention is when you want to buy a house, Sade, they're going to look at your debt to income ratio. So if you have a lot of debt, that can actually impact the kind of mortgages that you get. So it's actually a good idea to try and reduce your debt before you're ready to buy a house. But yeah, let me know, if you were in this situation, how would you approach it? What would you do first, or what would you prioritize? Drop your comments down below. And if you would like me to review your finances anonymously, link is in the description box below for you to submit your entry, and who knows, I might just select your submission to feature on this channel. Till next time guys, thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.